Hey everybody,
Hello, hello.
how y'all doing? We are, here with the third episode,
Mhm.
and we missed last week, and we're trying to stay as up to date as we possibly can.
Yeah, weekly videos is, I think, probably the goal.
Preferable, but
Mm.
sometimes stuff happens, and in this case, um, this week, we really wanted to talk about the schedule moving forward because honestly, it's not that bad of a schedule.
Mhm.
I think the worst of it is behind us for the most part.
But today is Thursday, April 30th. I'm pretty well. We lost to the Guardians last night, 3-1, and if I'm not mistaken, is that our second AL loss of the season?
Yeah,
Yeah. So
I think we're 14-2 now.
yeah, around there for sure. I mean, the NL Central just kind of whooped our butt. They're kind of whooping everybody's butt right now in a way. Like I saw something this morning saying that every NL Central team has a better record than every AL Central team. Obviously not the same divisions, but they're kind of tearing it up right now.
Which, there's a lot of talk almost every year about how much stronger the NL is to the AL, which I guess kind of surprises me a little bit, but it's still it really is a lot of times like the coastal teams. That's just coastal elitism. I hate to say it like that, but that tends to be what happens. You get the teams on the West Coast and the East Coast that do well. They just do well, and then you get stuff in the Central that's kind of like you got your division leaders, but they're not facing really hard teams all the time, so like their numbers are kind of artificially propped up. But
I mean, yeah, it's not that I don't know the word I'm looking for. It's not like it's hidden the fact that players, especially high caliber players, prefer coasts like the East or the West Coast. Like it's usually like somebody signed. The biggest thing is always like, oh, Yankees or Dodgers. Those are usually like the top two teams that get a say in the players that are on the market or when it comes to swaying players to play for a said team. It's not necessarily like point of what we're trying to get into today, but yeah, it does seem to be a East Coast West Coast dominant. I mean, even when it comes to the Central, it's like to me, the one person I think of coming out of the Central that I'm like that's their guy is like Jose Ramirez. Obviously, like he's like really the only guy that I'm like, nah, he rides for the Central. Like even if you think about players like who have been tearing it up, like Tarek School, like I'm not sure how much
he's
he wants
not
to
going
stay
to
in
be there that
Detroit.
much
Yeah,
longer.
exactly. So the East and the West Coast are definitely usually a draw for a lot of big time players. So it doesn't necessarily surprise me when they're always in the mix. One thing that I know we wanted to talk about was we won 6 games in a row.
Second time this season.
Second time this season. Unfortunately, did not get that back-to-back sweep for the second time this season. Today's an off day, and we're heading into the Trop this weekend to play the Giants. I think, if I'm not wrong, we have 13 games at home in a row. I don't know if it's 13. No, excuse me. It's not 13 in a row. We have 13 straight games before the next off break. Before our next break, our off day is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So it's not 13 home games that we have starting tomorrow when the Giants are in town. We will have 13 straight games being played, which as a baseball fan, I'm excited for. But I do think that this will be. I don't want to say our first real test of the season because we have been tested.
Yeah.
But this will definitely be a big test because when you're winning, it's always great and that's always what you want to push and strive towards. But to me, there really wasn't anything huge to take away from the Cleveland series.
Well, besides the fact that our offense basically died.
Yes, so that's what the thing I was going to say for our offense basically died. And our pitching once again was kind of standing ground. It's funny to say because our offense
even the bullpen.
Yeah, our offense started strong this season. But it seems like especially starting pitching, the bullpen definitely came through. But our starting pitching is probably our strongest point right now. And as of like right now, because I feel like weekly, obviously anything can change. But Nick Martinez, bro.
Nick Martinez and Steven Matz.
Yes, absolutely. Steven Matz past 2 games has definitely been getting kind of slapped up a little bit more. He's been leaving like the two starts ago is when he gave up the 4 runs against the Reds in at the Trop, and he gave up some runs last game too. Nick Martinez, what is it? Back-to-back scoreless outings, or I don't remember if he give up a run. I know he was shut out against the Reds.
He didn't give up a run on. He came out because he walked the first batter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Either way, he has the third best ERA in the league right now.
A 1.7.
Like 170. He's tearing it up. I mean, spring training, but I was somebody who's very skeptical about him coming into the season. Especially when we got him, he was heavily advertised as a starting pitch / relief pitcher, and knowing our situation, I was kind of like, hey, I was coming into the season being like, we have Pepiao, who we haven't seen yet. I thought he'd be the back of the end of the rotation, if anything. That'd be more, somebody to come in when we innings eater maybe. He has locked himself down as, I wouldn't say our ace. He's been playing like it, absolutely. We obviously have Drew Rasmussen, who has a very proven track record and has not been bad at all this season. He's been pretty good, definitely. But Nick Martinez has definitely, I think, just blown everybody's expectations out
Absolutely. I mean, he's not striking anybody out, and he wasn't. We never thought he would, but he is just pitching to contact, and it's working. He's not walking that many people. I mean, Drew yesterday had a little bit of command issues, and he wasn't overpowering anybody, and his strikeout rate has dropped this season. So I mean, he's not being as deceptive. He's still doing well, but he's not as he's had some dominant starts, but he's been solid. But I would definitely say that Nick Martinez is like our solid number 3 starter at minimum. At minimum. Shane McClanahan has looked good, especially as time has progressed. He has blow up innings. He will lose almost all command in his innings, and he'll start walking people, and they start slapping around. That every single time he's run into an issue, I believe the last game it was in the 3rd inning where he had the most issues. I believe. I don't remember if he gave up a run or not, but I remember he walked a couple people. He might have pitched out of it. But he has that, like, he's cruising, and then he has the one inning where he just can't do much of anything. And he's not striking people out at the high rate that we're used to, but his velocity is still getting up there. I mean, I think he hit 98 last game, and it's starting to climb. I expect Shane McClanahan to continue to settle in, and I mean that's all we can really expect, considering the fact that he hasn't pitched in.
It was almost 1,000 days the last time that he pitched.
He wasn't going to jump right back in and be the ace we remember him, but he's still right now. He's been solid.
I'll take him over a lot of other of the league's pitchers.
I will too. So our starting rotation is one of the least of my concerns at the moment. Even our bullpen has done a lot better recently now because of how bad it was in the beginning of the season. Some of those ERAs are just, you look at them, you're like, ugh. But a lot of them are starting to fall into the 4s and then some into the 3s. Even somebody like Ian Seymour over the past couple of days, it's been sketchy, but he got the job done multiple times. I mean, shoot, that second game when Nick Martinez did pitch, it was 1-0. And even though there were multiple times where the Guardians should have scored a run, I mean, it was bases loaded in the bottom of the 8th inning. Ian Seymour comes in after Nick Martinez walks the first guy. I don't remember who he walked. It might have been like Chase DeLauder. And it ended up becoming bases loaded. And then I think Ian Seymour had 2 strikeouts to get, the 2 strikeouts. And I think it was it bases loaded with no outs? He gets 2 strikeouts, and then Kevin Kelly comes in and gets Ramirez to fly out to deep center. It's sketchy. It doesn't feel great in the moment.
Mhm.
Even Brian Baker,
Yeah.
who's been our closer, which what he still has blown 2 saves, I believe, on the season, but he has the most saves in the AL. I believe that's correct. I think he has 7 now.
You know what? I could confirm
Double
that,
check
but
on that. I'm pretty sure I heard VA saying that he has the most saves in the AL. But almost every single time he pitches, he gives something up.
yes,
He walks somebody or they get a hit off of him, but he's able to wiggle out of it every time. And that is definitely that's a Ray's voodoo magic type thing. It's not great, but it's worked so far. And luckily, our defense, or not our defense, our offense has been able to carry us. But unfortunately, were you able to find it?
Yeah, it says the AL leader right now is Dave Bednar with 9 saves, but Brian
Okay.
Baker has 7.
Oh, that's what.
So-
Okay, maybe. Okay. Well, it was close, but maybe at the time because this was a few days ago that I heard this. So anyway, um, our offense has been able to carry us for the most part. This past series, we were lucky that the pitching was the way it was, and the defense for the most part was fantastic. Defense definitely was one of the strong suits, except for a couple instances, which we'll get into in a minute. But our offense has been great. This last series, it was not. We were able to come from behind in the first game, able to get we'll tie the game on a Jonathan Aranda home run, and then in that inning, Ryan Valade came through, which is another person I want to talk about here in a minute, and we were able to close it down. That second game, offense was basically dead. We got lucky that Taylor Walls walked 3 times in the game, and Jonathan Aranda he stole a base, and Jonathan Aranda got him home with a single. And I think he got the third on a pass ball.
I think you're right.
I believe that's what it was. So it's one of those things where the Guardians' offense was dead, and they only scored 3 runs the third game. It's not like they scored a lot of runs. Our offense was just nothing. So we're lucky we won 2 out of 3.
Absolutely.
We're very lucky we did. I'm hoping moving forward that we're just in that little. I mean, that's the way the season goes. There's ups and downs. I'm hoping we just hit a little bit of a lull and things kind of come back. But that gets into some of the offense. You want to start on defense or offense first?
My mindset's kind of on the offensive because I'm just we've had discussions throughout this week of a few things. One, obviously, we are playing above 500 right now, which is great. We're winning games, but it's clear. We've known this since before the season started. 1, we are not the favorites, and 2, on paper, we do not have the strongest lineup. On paper, I'd say, who knows if we even have the top 10 strongest lineups on paper, honestly. I feel like you could probably make a case, but when you have teams, just league-wise, like the Yankees, Dodgers, Phillies, Mets, even maybe, just to name a few of them, they're more put together to win, especially the long term. Obviously, we know how the Mets and the Phillies are playing right now, so that doesn't say much. But offensively, one of the biggest questions, at least for me personally going this season, is just the rotation of people, like platooning. Platooning inherently, I think, is a great thing. It's very nice to have, but the Rays, I feel like there's a couple things. A few seasons ago, the Rays were known for voodoo magic trades. We were always getting the upper hand with trades. We were always turning whatever package that we got from players into, I guess, the best versions of themselves. And they'll still talk about. Even Tyler Glasnow, very recently has been, making appearances talking about how the Rays fixed him as a pitcher. Yes, the Rays are very good at what they do, and they've been known to kind of redevelop people. Point of why I'm bringing most of that up is we have such a weird depth of people who do so many different things that it's so hard for me to I'm honestly a little surprised we have such a winning formula as we do. And I'm not even going to say it's because we don't have the players for it. I do think we do. It's just when to play and who to play and when is more so what I'm getting at. You have somebody like Chandler Simpson, who overall should be starting every day,
And he has been.
yeah, and mainly because offensively, but there are times to where it's just like defensively he can still be a liability. But that's kind of how, I mean, we can talk about offense because I guess we have a lot of defense talk to go from first. You have someone like Ryan Vilade, who's the biggest reason we won the first game.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't played since.
That was like the second game he went 3 for 4.
Yeah, he hasn't played. Jake Fraley did hit a home run this series. I'll give it to him. But even with that being said, you have someone like Johnny DeLuca. Jake Fraley did hit a home run this series, right? Or
no, he hit it off the top of the wall.
He hit a home run within the past like 4 or 5 days.
I don't think it was during this series.
He's hit a home run very recently. Because I remember watching. I don't remember what series.
Yeah, it was last series. It was last series against Minnesota.
I think you're right, actually.
Yeah, he had a double off the top of the wall that almost got out.
He has power, and he definitely gets into them. But there's just the platooning. It's so hard for people to catch fire and to stay consistent. So when you have someone like Johnny DeLuca, who's just been doing that all season overall, that's not only impressive, but to me, it's just kind of like a cry out to be like, this guy needs to be playing every day.
Yeah.
Fraley is a good player. I'm not saying that he's not, but when you have, Cedric Mullins, who is struggling,
he's hitting
right
what,
now,
140
on both ends, is struggling very mightily. He is not only going to affect the flow of the game, but in my eyes, he's going to take time away from the players who are actively impacting the game in a positive way, like DeLuca. I keep on saying DeLuca, but that's like the main. Even Vilade at this point.
Vilade has consistently come through when he's put into the lineup.
At this point, we might as well just put DeLuca and Vilade in center and right field and let them play for a freaking week. I don't know. That's just how my head works when it comes to stuff like this. They're producing, put them out there. At least DeLuca, I'm not really sure Vilade defensively. DeLuca is very solid defensively.
Vilade's done well defensively. So, I haven't seen any major bobbles that he's done.
And Fraley has worked through major bobbles. I remember he looked a lot more uncomfortable in the outfield at the earlier on in the season. You got someone like, Nick Fortes, who, in my opinion, offensively, in a way, I feel like him and Hunter Fiducia offensively have kind of impressed in ways. Obviously, Fiducia hasn't hit a home run, isn't playing every day, but he has come through in bigger moments. He's had some clutch hits.
He's the only one who's thrown anybody out.
Yes, he literally. It's very weird because I feel like we are very middle of the ground as far as how our actual performance is, but we're still winning. So it gives me hope, but at the same time, I do not view the Rays currently as a playoff team. As far as a winning formula playoff team, and the reason I say that is because I feel like it solely comes off to how well the other team plays against us. It's one of those things where it's like you put the ball in play, people are going to make mistakes, people are going to rush things, and that has played into our game a lot so far this season, is putting the ball into play and seeing how the defense handles that.
I also kind of want to drift that into our schedule, and we were looking over the strength of schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And if we look at the way that the Rays are playing recently and how they've played, how they've played this season so far,
mm-hmm.
and how the teams we're going to be facing have played this so far, if we're strictly basing it on that and only thinking about it like this, let's just go through May. Okay, San Francisco, not really doing so well. I could see us winning 2 or 3. I'm gonna base it off of series wins.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully sweeps, that would be great, but I'm gonna base it off of series wins. San Francisco, I'd be surprised if we don't win that series. Toronto, there's a good chance.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they haven't been playing that great. Boston absolutely should win that series. And then Toronto again. Again, same situation. Miami, NL team,
mm-hmm.
but they've been playing okay.
Yeah.
That's going to be a tough one. Baltimore.
You haven't heard anything about them.
You haven't really heard anything. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
They've been kind of just in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're third place right now, so they have been winning games, but nothing special. New York, the Yankees, obviously that would be nice to be able to repeat how we faced them earlier in the month, but they're a good team and they've been playing really good since we played them.
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore again, And then the Angels, again, one of those like they've had really good series, but they've had the unlucky bug. So this next month, it seems we should win more games than we lose.
Yeah.
We should. If we're the team that we've been playing like, and the offense stays the way it has, and if anything improves, we should have a good month. I'll go into June. I won't go any farther than that because it's basically all the same thing. Our schedule isn't that bad. June, Detroit, they've been a hit or miss. They have a few good pitchers I don't want to face, but they've been, it's been all right. Miami again, Boston, the Angels. The hardest one that month is going to be the Dodgers. That's going to be the 15th through the 17th. Washington, the Nationals, Kansas City, Arizona. And then it goes back to Kansas City. These are teams, like each month, we should have a winning record if we play the way we've been playing.
Quite literally, out of all the teams we mentioned, other than like maybe the Dodgers and the Yankees, I'll let them have a bye. We have been making a bigger splash than most of those teams this season. Obviously, things are still very early on. There's, even a couple different ways to approach that. Is before the season even started, yes, those are all teams that can play amazingly. That's just what baseball is. Anybody can have their moment at any time. But I remember coming into the season being like, our schedule this season is crazy, and we are going to get smacked on, especially with like going into the season on paper, we were the worst team in the East, like very much so. I'm not even gonna say that we're not anymore, but like on paper is the point I'm getting at because our players have been performing otherwise. If you wanna, go through the whole career of everybody and be like, this is how your team stacks up. That's one thing. We have already been turning heads a little bit more and playing above what we thought that our means were. I think a lot of that has to do with having a proper home, like being back at the Trop has been great. So there's been a lot of things that have surprised me this season. I think one of which has been the ABS usage, because once you go through and it's now a solidified everyday thing of kind of what to expect, it does change the game and the approach of the hitters. It's very weird because there's games where we have the ABS all the way until the last inning, but most of the time I feel like we blow through that like early. Like we got people who be challenging.
I think they probably had a talking to
I wouldn't be surprised.
Like Fraley, he would call everything in the beginning of the season, and then over the past, this series there was a couple times where like he should have actually called, and he didn't. And there was multiple times where they shouldn't have called, or they should have, and they didn't. So I don't know if the hitters have really been allowed to, or they've been told, hey, we need to chill out on this because it's going too far. We need this mostly for let Fortes, because he's been pretty decent with it.
He has. The catchers have definitely been the best this season.
Was it the second game? I think there was like 4 overturns.
Yeah.
And he got one wrong. The first one he got wrong, but then he overturned like 4 of them. And the Rays had a bunch overturned against them as well. So it's one of those things where I really do think that probably Kevin Cash was like, you guys need to cut this. You're wasting these. And some of these are like not in situations where they should have been wasted. It's not like it was a tight spot. And then there's multiple times like Yandy, he said he hadn't made a call all year.
Yandy hasn't challenged at all this year. And that's something that I was going to say is, well, one, as of, this is from Baseball Savant. The Rays have challenged 26 calls this year and have only gotten 12 correct. So there's a 46% win rate. Could be way worse. Would like to see that way better. It says, I don't know how accurate this is. It says Jake Fraley has challenged 8 times and has won 4 of them.
That makes sense. Because people were saying in the beginning when he was doing, he's got a high level of getting it overturned. And I remember a couple of them, but then at the same time, I'm like, I've seen him multiple times get it wrong.
50% is definitely not the worst, obviously. In baseball alone, doing anything at 50% is usually like extremely elite. Nobody does much of that. But the ABS is a little different. But that's something I want to say about Yandy is one of those guys who just knows the zone. I mean, overall, like people highly respect him for his eye, and just that's one of the reasons he's such a good hitter because he knows what he wants to swing at and lets pitches come to him. He hasn't challenged at all this season. I don't know if it's more so because he just doesn't want to be involved in the getting something wrong, or if he's just like that guy who's just like, I'm gonna let the umps make the call. I feel like unless there's a call that was like blatantly absurd to where it's a ball, he's probably just not gonna challenge. And most of the time, his strike zone overall is usually pretty good. So that doesn't surprise me too much. But the way that the ABS has just changed the flow of the game, the confidence of players, and how they just approach their at bats has been crazy to see. Because one, it could be one of those things that implodes your team, or it can genuinely like drastically help. Like with the amount of times we've seen from all over the league this year already of players getting multiple calls overturned and completely changing how an at bat goes. I think it's overall a great thing, but I do think that especially early on in games, it's in the back of hitters' heads that it's just like, okay, I can kind of mess around with the zone a little bit. Like it is a little bit of zone manipulation, especially if you're like getting calls right. Um, it is a weird and a new baseball right now. Not even saying in any bad way. It's just there's so much going on, and it's so early that you just try to ride the highs that you have right now. But we are very much still a platooning team. Like we could sit here and talk for hours about the expectations and how good we're playing, how bad we're playing, whatever. But we are people like, you know, there is no real identity to the team. We are doing a good job presenting ourselves and winning still, but it's like really like the only solidifying people that I can like think about on a daily basis is like Junior at third, Aranda at first, maybe Simpson in left field, but we are such a platoon, next man up, who fits the best script today team that you're either going to run away with that all season and keep people guessing, which in a way is kind of what we've been doing. Like we've been playing a different type of ball that I guess not even the Rays are used to at the same time, to where we could ride this the whole season, or people will start getting to the point where they're figuring us out, and we're in that weird spot where I don't think anybody has expected the league other than maybe like the Dodgers and the Yankees to be the way it is right now.
Yeah,
Like
no,
it is a
I would
very
say that.
across the board league right now.
And then I guess the last kind of thing would be definitely the defense. It's not as egregious as it was in the beginning of the season. It's definitely improved. At least looks wise, it has improved. You don't have Junior making multiple errors. He's definitely gotten better. I remember one specific thing yesterday in which Aranda, he had a ball that could have been an out at first. It was hit to him. There was a man on first and second, and he threw to third, trying to tag him out. Or no, there was a man on first and was it first and second? I believe it was first and second because the man ran the from second to third, and he went and threw over, and he like didn't. There was just no outs, and I believe they scored on the next play. It's just like dumb plays that like why are they being made? It doesn't make any sense. Cedric Mullins is become a liability in center field. He's not the defensive guy that thought he was going to be. He looks uncomfortable out there.
He swings at every breaking ball in.
Yeah, and that's all they're doing to him now. And then like the second game, we won 1-0 in the ninth inning. He goes and he just kind of like it was a difficult play. I'm not saying that he should have made it 100% out of 100 out of 100 times, but like what we're used to in the outfield, we're used to great defense. And when that ball is not even maybe a foot over his glove, hits the wall a foot over his glove, and the little leap that he had, he not only wasn't even rushing towards the wall, he like it's like you're watching it and you're like, oh, he's got that because he slows up, and at the last second he does like this little tiny hop and like doesn't crash into the wall. He just kind of goes braces himself against the wall, and then Fraley is able to get it. Luckily, nobody scored. I thought they were going to score on that. Like it's just one of those things where it feels like he's not in it.
And that's been a thing. That was kind of the question coming into the season when it came to Cedric is will he be able to like revive his career? He's not a he hasn't been playing like his prime self, and that happens in baseball. This might just be to where he's just not it anymore, unfortunately, and that does happen. He's had some couple big moments, like the 2 home runs he's hit for us this year have been pretty big home runs. So I mean, he's getting the job. I wouldn't say he's getting the job done, but he's gotten the job done. So it's not like he's been completely useless. But yeah, it's been a lot. He's been a liability. There's things that I wanted to refer to. We'll make it like a forever episode, but even stuff like question mark on Gavin Lux. Like we got a lot brewing as far as offense and defense goes. Got a lot of prospect work. I know Jacob Melton's time has been pushed back because he got like injured this past week. There's a lot of what ifs, a lot more discussions that will get closer to the time. I heard something on the radio this week that the Rays, it was the Rays radio network. They're talking about how they're going to be a drastically different team by the trade deadline.
Oh yeah,
So
who said that? I don't remember who said it, but they were talking. Oh, what's his name? The guy. I don't remember his name. Honestly, the radio announcer that it's kind of annoying. The other, not Andy Freed, but the other guy. I honestly can't remember his name. He's the guy who replaced Dave Wills once he unfortunately passed. Yeah, he basically was talking about how the next time we face Cleveland, we're both going to be a completely different team, and it's like, is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? Because it could be either or. We've already got rid of everybody.
I was about to say we're getting to a point to where if we get rid of that much more people, then we're going to be a different team next year. It's not that we already aren't, but it's like who's the glue that's holding this team together right now?
If we're winning and we're still like multiple games above 500 and in like the race,
bye.
We're gonna get people.
Yes, we should not. As of right now, I do not want us selling. I do not want do like big, because it's always somebody who is a big part of the production of the season. Like when we're ready to trade somebody, obviously it's high value people, but we always trade somebody who has helped to get us to where we currently are, and that would to me be a nail in the coffin as far as the season going. So yeah. Thursday, April 30th, we're about to start 13 games in a row.
We're going to be at the game tomorrow and on Sunday.
Yeah. So, yeah. Heck yeah. Very excited to see how these next 13 games go. Hopefully the next time we get on here and talk, we'll be in high spirits.
Yeah. Let's hope so.
A lot can happen in a week.
So, anyway, thank you guys for watching. See you on the next one.
Peace.
Peace.